Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we're going to be looking at a really interesting Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, right off the bat, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that for those of you that are on PC, you can grab this mod by clicking the link in the description box down below. And for those of you that are on console but are interested in this particular mod, the creator actually said on mod.io that while this one is obviously branded so it's not the console version, he does have a console version in the works that he's trying to work on and get out to you guys as soon as he can. We don't know when that's going to be yet, but it does seem like that is in the works. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, it looks like it's based on a LC70/LC79 generation Land Cruiser pickup, and the default paint job, as you can see, is kind of a very weathered, rusty style paint job, which I do like, actually. I think it would fit really nicely into the game. Now, the stock engine is going to give you a B+ power to weight rating, so very vanilla focused. Then after that, you get the 4.5 liter diesel, which gets you up to a S+, and then the performance 4.5 liter diesel, which would be an additional bit of power on top of the already S+ 4.5 liter diesel. Now, we're going to go with the performance tune. And then after that, we have a stock, highway, and off-road set of transmissions. Now, for this test, we're going to start with the off-road, and then after that, we're going to move on to the highway transmission, of course, using the dev tools outside the garage. So, off-road first, and then suspension-wise, we have stock, Stock 1, and Stock 2. Now, Stock 2 seems to sit just a tad higher, but I'm wondering which one is going to be more flexible. Now, for now, I'm going to go with Stock 2, but what I'll do is I'll go out of the garage and I'll stop by the flex ramp and I'll switch between Suspension 2 and Suspension 1 just to see which one gives us a tad bit more flex. So we'll start with Suspension 2. And then tires-wise, we have a good selection of tires here on this thing. So we're going to start off with a set of 35s. We've got Treps, we got KM3s, we got Pitbulls, we got Boggers, and then it repeats in a 37, it repeats in a 39, and then it repeats in a, well, let's see, 41. Wait a minute. There were more there in the 39s. I was like, wait a second. Did that list repeat but in like a different offset or something? Or are they just like, because there's a 39 Trep right there, and then a 39 Trep right there again. Either way, I'm not sure what it's doing there, but let's see. It seems to go all the way up to a 44? That's like some properly huge tires, like genuinely huge. Now, I do love the way the KM3s look. I tend to put them on everything, but I think I'm going to run the Pitbulls on this thing because they do run just a tad bit wider, and I really like the way they look. And then winch-wise, you're going to be getting a single winch option, but I'm sure it's going to be an offline winch, so no need to worry about that. We do have a roof rack up top as well as a snorkel, which we're going to put the snorkel on as well as the roof rack. And then exhaust-wise, we've got a Fender exit exhaust that comes out right here underneath the little side marker light, if you can see it, on the passenger side fender. Now, that'll, of course, uninstall the stock exhaust, and you also have the option of stock doors or tube doors that actually have this really cool Toyota Land Cruiser, basically like a branding on the actual tube door itself. I really love how those look. Now, fenders, you can do custom fenders or the stock ones. The custom fenders are just overlays, so I'm not necessarily a big fan of that, but we're going to leave the stock fenders there, or you can also just take the fenders off to give you a little bit of extra clearance, which I kind of dig, actually. It gives it a really raw look. It doesn't necessarily line up with the bumper anymore when you do that, so I might go ahead and pop the stock fenders back on, but if you do want to go for that slightly more raw look, the option for it is there. Now, in the terms of custom bumpers, you have custom bumper 1, and then 2, which is a lot more of like a kind of homebrew tube bumper style, and then of course the stock one. I kind of dig this big beefy bumper though that's got the built-in LEDs, the kind of the encased winch. I really like that actually. That looks really good. Now, wheels-wise, you do get a single wheel choice, and it's kind of like an old-school style steely. And then in terms of colors, that sort of like really weathered, almost pitted paint-looking design kind of carries over throughout any of the colors that you would choose. But the cool thing is, it also changes the color of the tube doors. So that is a really nice touch. Now, I do think this thing looks really good in white, but I also think it looks good in kind of like a darker red. Now, of course, vehicle color is a very subjective thing, and not everybody is going to like the same vehicle color as somebody else, but I think that this dark blue, or even the lighter blue, like both of the blues on this thing look really good. Nothing in terms of interior customization right now, but who knows what we could see in the future. And with that being said and done, let's go ahead and get this thing out of the garage. Looks so good, by the way. Let's fire it up. It sounds really good, too. It's got a little bit of like a spool noise that you can hear right when you first fire it up. Now, let's take it over to the flex ramp and see which one of these suspensions is going to be... Oh, this one seems like it's definitely going to be your flexy one. Now, I will try the other one just to see, but this one definitely feels like it's going to be the flexible. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, that one's got like a ton of flex. That's got way more flex than I thought it was going to have. All right, so let's back that down, and now let's go into the garage, and we'll see... Okay, so let's see, suspension. So we have suspension 2. Let's go to suspension 1 and drive right back up the same flex ramp and see kind of what the difference is. So that one, honestly, like, it flexes really, really good as well. It just doesn't have the same ride height. So basically, you wouldn't necessarily be in a bad place by going with either one. And since I have some of the largest tires you can throw on this thing, I'm just going to go with the higher suspension. Even though I know internally that it's going to be a little bit more top heavy, I'm sure it's going to be just fine. Now, I do want to actually, before I leave the garage area, let's go back and check and see what trailers we can run, because I'm sure that there's going to be people out there that are going to want to know what trailers this thing can actually pull. Now, in terms of trailers, I feel like it's probably going to be able to have a... Oh, wow, actually, it's got a pretty decent variety. So almost anything medium duty, this thing should be able to haul. Both scout and medium duty trailers, you're good to go. Yo, I love that interior, though. You got, like, a little GPS right there. You got a dash. It's not an animated dash, but it still is a dash texture. I almost drove right into the wall, but don't freaking worry about it. It's fine. Now, heading down to the hill climb objective. I'm going to try to throw this thing through the river and high. I think it'll do just fine if I ask it to do that. Now, the nice thing about this off-road gearbox, though, is the fact that even though it's an off-road gearbox, it's still got, like, 6 gears in automatic mode. Whoa! Okay, so if you go with the top engine and transmission options, be prepared to be able to, like, send this thing. Also, dude, that looks so... Whoa! I did not want to do that. But no, this thing looks so good. Like, doesn't it, though? I absolutely love these things. And the fact that we don't get these in the US, like, really, we don't get any of, like, the 70 series Land Cruisers, like 70, 79, anything like that. I wish we did, because this setup with that turbo diesel engine, I mean, here in the US, that would be one of the best expedition vehicles that you could ever get your hands on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with our testing, but man, I just wanted to get a good look at that thing and see what it looked like when we got it stopped right there at, like, a really good photo spot in the middle of the river. Now, I'm sure it's going to destroy this hill climb, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually see if it can do it in 2-wheel drive. I'm sure it'll be able to, but let's see. All right, 2-wheel drive up the hill climb. Let's go! Oh, maybe not. Okay, so without momentum, it can't actually do it in 2-wheel drive. Let me see if it'll do it in high in 2-wheel drive. Oh, God, yeah, okay, so purely based off of the fact that it had that much momentum, it was totally fine with doing it in 2-wheel drive and high. It just sounds so good. I mean, the sound of this thing is genuinely incredible. Going through the rock obstacle, even if we slow crawl it, it should do it no problem whatsoever. And keep in mind, too, that these rocks are going to be very slick compared to some of the rocks on other maps. Whoa! Okay, that little crack in the rocks right there will usually make most vehicles just flip right over. This thing, it was actually able to maintain its center of gravity. That's really impressive. The fact that it's, like, it sits so high and it's got so much flex, yet maintains such a good, like, low center of gravity, that's a very impressive feat with this rig. Can I find the grip that it needs? Just about. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, this thing is so sick. This thing is so good. Whoop. Wow. Dude, this thing, like... There are so many vehicles that in that entire line back there would have flipped over at a moment's notice, but not this cruiser. Dang, this thing rips. All right, let's see what it can do in the mud now. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into high, and in terms of going through the shallow mud, it acts like it isn't even there. So I'm going to head straight to some deeper stuff and throttle it down. Dang, that's impressive. All right, yeah, I'm going to take it out of high, though, right there, because that first mud lane is about all it's going to be able to do in high, I think. Now, low, maybe low plus? No, low plus is effective in here. Okay, Yeah, even in the deeper mud, you can still run low plus, and it really doesn't complain that much. I would definitely say, though, that if you're planning on using this thing in an objective-based campaign-style map, or even like a campaign-style mod map, I would recommend, if you're approaching a deep area with mud, throw it into low plus before you actually get there, because otherwise, you'll probably dig yourself in pretty bad if you try to run through it in high. Now, I'm going to use reverse instead of brakes. Ironically, that works better in some vehicles than actually hitting the brakes in this game. This one has fine brakes, but like there are some vehicles that I think are just like, they were designed by whoever built them to have like really bad brakes. And honestly, I will fully admit to whenever I need to do a quick stop in this game, because it doesn't give you any transmission damage, I'll just chuck it into reverse and be like, just don't worry about it. Freaking send it. Easing it through. Whoa! Honestly, like, even though it's fairly long, it hasn't gotten high-centered once on this entire drive. Now, granted, though, it will drag the bed almost everywhere it goes, because the bed does hang out really, really far past the rear axle, but I'm not really one to worry so much about that. I mean, I feel like if this thing can maintain, can kind of just, like, maintain itself in terms of not getting high-centered, I'm willing to drag the bed. Now, I am going to throw in the high transmission. That's going to give us one more gear in automatic mode, and it will set this thing up perfectly to head straight out to the good old bridge jump. Now, the bridge jump being the absolutely perfect addition to this series of tests that it is, will determine how good this thing is at not only jumping, but also landing, provided that it can actually land. Now, whether or not it can actually, whether or not it can actually land is, that remains to be determined, but we're about to find out in just a moment. Oh boy. And here we go. Full send. It's pretty quick, and we're not even in 7th yet. Let's go. Oh god, I messed that up. You know, I messed up the takeoff, but it's not necessarily, like, damaged out or anything. It's not in any kind of, like, you know, danger of not being able to drive away. But let's see. You go to that one right there. That should pull you right over. Wow. Or not. It's very against, like... Oh, there we go. Now I could drive it out, though. Like, if I winch it up to the rock and kind of use the rock as a point to push against, because I couldn't get any leverage on the sides of the tires in the mud, just because there was really no grip down there anyway. But, like, man, at the end of the day, this thing is an absolute, like, shred machine. It absolutely rips, it absolutely shreds, and I can't wait to see what's in store for this thing's future. So with that all being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and if you did enjoy, please do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.